You don't wake up one day as a cult leader. You start as a believer sitting quietly in the back of a crowded hall, watching one person control an entire room. People hang on his words. They nod before he even finishes a sentence. Some of them look at him like he holds answers to questions they've carried their entire lives. At first, you think it's charisma, but the longer you watch, the more you notice something else. Control. The leader speaks slowly, carefully choosing every word. When he pauses, the silence itself feels meaningful. When he repeats an idea, the room absorbs it like truth carved in stone. No one interrupts. No one questions. And that's when a strange realization forms in your mind. Power doesn't belong to the strongest person in the room. It belongs to the one who shapes what everyone believes. You arrived at this compound, searching for direction like everyone else. The place sits far from cities, hidden behind trees and long gravel roads. Life here is simple. Shared meals, long discussions, quiet routines that slowly pull you away from the outside world. At the bottom of the hierarchy, your role is almost invisible. You clean the hall after gatherings. You carry supplies between buildings. You wake before sunrise to help prepare breakfast for the community. Nobody orders you to work harder, but you do. Because every evening when the group gathers again, you sit in the back and watch the leader carefully. You watch how people react to his tone, how they lean forward when he lowers his voice, how even doubt disappears when he frames it as part of a larger truth. The others are listening for meaning. You're studying the mechanism. And slowly, something shifts inside you. You stop asking why people follow him. Instead, you start asking a far more dangerous question. How does someone learn to lead belief itself? Because becoming a cult leader isn't one moment of power. It's a ladder. At the bottom, yet you're just another voice in the crowd, but step by step, level by level, influence grows. First, people listen to you, then they trust you, then they follow you, and eventually, the entire room moves according to your words. Right now, you're just a follower sitting in the back row, but already you can see the ladder. And once you see it, you can't stop thinking about climbing it. Your real education begins when Elias notices you. He isn't the leader, but everyone understands his position. When the leader finishes speaking, Elias is the one people approach for clarification. He rarely raises his voice, yet conversation's quiet when he enters a room. One evening, after the gathering ends, he stops you while others drift away. "You watch the room," he says. "Most people only watch the speaker." From that night forward, Elias starts inviting you to smaller meetings. These aren't spiritual discussions. These are strategy sessions. You learn how new followers are guided through stages of belief. First curiosity, then emotional connection, then separation from outside influence. Each step designed to deepen commitment. Elias teaches you something even more important. People rarely follow ideas. They follow confidence. Your first test comes sooner than expected. A new recruit named Marcus begins questioning the teachings during discussion circles. His skepticism spreads uncertainty among the others. Elias says nothing. Yes, he watches you, so you act carefully. Instead of arguing with Marcus, you ask him to explain his doubts in front of everyone. Then you ask the group a simple question. Why did they come here? One by one, they answer. Purpose, direction, understanding. Marcus realizes he's standing against the entire room. The challenge dissolves without conflict. After the meeting, Elias gives a quiet nod. But someone else is watching too. Daniel. He joined years before you and believes authority should come with time. Now he sees people listening to you instead. Your first victory is small, but the game is finally visible. And you're learning how it's played. Recognition arrives quietly, but everyone understands what it means. During the evening gathering, the hall is filled as usual. Candles flicker along the walls while the leader speaks about growth, about how the movement must prepare for more followers in the coming months. Then he calls your name. The room turns. You walk to the front slowly, aware that every pair of eyes is measuring you now, the same way they once did on your first day. Elias stands nearby, watching with that same calm expression. The leader places a hand on your shoulder and announces that you will now guide the new initiates, those just arriving, confused, searching for direction. A simple role. But everyone understands its importance. You bow your head slightly as the room acknowledges the decision. Some nod in approval. Others study you more carefully now. Your authority begins the next morning. A group of 12 new recruits sits in front of you, waiting for explanation. They expect answers, guidance, confidence. You give them structure instead. You control the pace of conversation, letting certain questions linger before answering them. You repeat key ideas until they sound undeniable. When someone hesitates, you frame their doubt as the first step toward deeper understanding. They listen. They adjust their thinking to match your words. Even older members begin deferring to your judgment during discussions. Daniel notices it too. Once he interrupts you during a gathering, challenging your interpretation of the teachings. You respond calmly, inviting the group to reflect. The room sides with you. And in that moment, something changes inside you. Authority no longer feels borrowed. It feels natural. Your responsibilities expand faster than you expected. More people arrive at the compound every month. Word spreads quietly outside the walls. Stories of purpose, belonging, transformation. The leader begins reorganizing the community to handle the growth. That's when he assigns an entire section of followers under your direction. Nearly 50 people. They eat together, work together, study together. And now, they answer to you. At first, the change is subtle. You organize their schedules, now it's assigning tasks and leading the daily teaching circles. You control the rhythm of their days, when they work, when they gather, when they reflect. Structure creates order, but order requires discipline. The first problem appears when 2 members begin skipping evening gatherings. They claim exhaustion from labor duties, quietly testing how much authority you actually hold. You address it immediately. During the next assembly, you speak about commitment, about how a movement only survives when every member protects its unity. Then you remove the 2 members from communal roles and assign them to isolated labor outside the main compound. No shouting, no anger, just consequence. The message spreads quickly. Attendance becomes perfect overnight. Another issue surfaces weeks later, when a follower begins spreading uncertainty about the teachings. Small whispers during meals. Quiet doubts passed between friends. You bring him into the center of a discussion circle, not to punish him, to expose hesitation. By the end of the conversation, the group itself rejects his influence. Within days, he chooses to leave. Your reputation grows after that. Not because you're cruel, because you're decisive. Followers become disciplined. Order becomes stronger. And slowly, everyone begins understanding something important. Kindness inspires loyalty, but fear ensures obedience. Your influence inside the compound is no longer limited to the people you command. Real power begins higher. The Leadership Council meets twice a month. Elders who control recruitment, finances, and external outreach. Officially, you are only invited to report on your section. Unofficially, you begin shaping everything. You start forming quiet alliances. The finance overseer appreciates the way you reorganize donation records, bringing order where there was confusion. In return, he supports your proposals during council discussions. The recruitment leaders adopt your training methods because your followers remain the most disciplined in the compound. Gradually, support gathers around you. Daniel notices it too, but he makes the mistake most rivals make. He challenges you openly. During one council meeting, he argues that your authority is expanding too quickly, that the structure is changing too much. You don't attack him. You present a detailed expansion plan instead. Clear leadership tiers, standardized teachings, and stronger unity between communities. By the time Daniel finishes speaking, the room has already decided which future feels stronger. His objections sound like fear. Your vision sounds like progress. The council approves your structure. Daniel's influence fades quietly after that. No confrontation, no public defeat, just a slow shift in perception. And in systems like this, perception is power. Growth brings power. Power attracts resistance. One of the satellite communities begins drifting from the structure you built. Its regional leader, Victor, starts reshaping the teachings, slowly placing his authority above the system itself. Followers there begin repeating his interpretations instead of the original doctrine. A fracture is forming. You travel there personally. The gathering hall fills quickly when word spreads that you've arrived. Victor greets you with confidence, but the room feels tense. Everyone knows something is about to be decided. You let him speak first. He explains his improvements, claiming the movement must evolve beyond old limitations. When he finishes, you address the room calmly. You speak about unity, about how movements collapse when individuals place themselves above the mission. You remind them why the structure exists, to protect truth from personal ambition. Then you ask a single question. Did you come here for a man? Or for something greater? The silence answers everything. Victor realizes it before anyone else does. The room has already shifted. Within days he resigns and leaves the community. You appoint a loyal successor and tighten the leadership chain across every region. The message spreads faster than any speech. Opposition isn't destroyed with violence. It disappears when everyone understands the outcome before the challenge even begins. After Victor, their resistance becomes rare. Authority stops looking like ambition. It begins looking like inevitability. The leadership council gathers for what everyone assumes is another routine meeting. Reports are shared. Expansion numbers rise. New communities continue forming under the structure you designed. Then the leader speaks. He explains that the movement has grown too large for its original hierarchy. More followers, more territories, more complexity than a single voice can manage alone. So a new position is created. Architect Supreme. The title carries authority beyond the council itself. Oversight of doctrine. Oversight of leadership. Oversight of every community connected to the movement. When your name is announced, no one in the room looks surprised. The vote is unanimous. From that moment forward, every decision flows through your structure. Regional leaders follow systems you designed. Recruitment strategies follow your methods. Your teachings are standardized through the frameworks you created. Even the leader begins consulting you before major gatherings. Not because he must, because the movement now runs according to your logic. Your presence alone changes rooms. Conversations slow when you enter. Disagreements disappear before they grow large enough to reach you. Your rivals are gone. Your systems replace them. And your influence spreads through every level of the organization so completely that opposing you no longer feels like opposing a person. It feels like opposing the order of things itself. Because somewhere along the way, the hierarchy stopped being something you climbed. You became the structure holding it together. You are no longer inside the system. You are the system. Years pass, and the movement no longer resembles the fragile community you first entered. It is larger now. Structured, precise. Communities operate across distant regions, all connected through the system you designed. New followers arrive already knowing the language, the rituals, the hierarchy. And above all of it, they know your name. When you appear at the annual gathering, thousands stand in silence. Some look at you with admiration. Others with something quieter. Fear. Not the fear of punishment. The fear of challenging something immovable. You walk through the crowd slowly, in noticing how conversations stop before you reach them. Leaders straighten their posture. Followers lower their voices. No one questions your decisions anymore. They interpret them. You stand at the front of the gathering and look across the sea of faces. People who shaped their lives around the system you built. Years ago, you were just another believer sitting quietly in the back of a crowded hall. Now the structure itself bends around your will. The rivals are gone. The doubts disappeared long ago. What remains is order, unchallenged, unquestioned. But dominance has a cost. The higher you stand above everyone else, the fewer people exist beside you. Loyalty surrounds you. Devotion surrounds you. Yet true equals no longer remain. You feel the distance clearly now, but power was never about comfort. It was about permanence. And as the crowd watches you in absolute silence, one truth becomes undeniable. You didn't just rise through the hierarchy. You became the force that ensures no one else ever will.